Greetings, fellow YouTubers. Irv Lindsay here. How are you? It's been a while since I posted a YouTube video. A real one, anyway. But I don't want to talk about YouTube today. I want to talk about a little bit about what I do for a living. I'm a mental health counselor. I'm certified, licensed by the state of Ohio as a licensed professional counselor. And I don't think a lot of people understand what it's like to be a counselor, and specifically I work in addictions, which I think is a different layer, maybe not. I've worked primarily in addictions for most of my career, and I want to just chime in and put in my 2 cents worth on being a counselor. So this is especially useful for those of you that live with someone that works as a counselor, social worker, therapist, case manager, and that work in the helping field, that work with in a human services field. You put yourself into your job. And you put yourself into it, and a piece of you, it takes a part of you away. And on those roughest of days, when you've got a client in distress, or you've got somebody screaming at you, and they're not really screaming at me, they're screaming at the world, they're screaming at life, they're fed up. And guys, we've all had those days. We've all had those days where we're just sick of it. We've had it to hear enough is enough. And people come and they talk to me and they tell me their problems. And that's what I do. And I listen. My number one thing is to listen and make people feel heard. And to mourn with those that mourn, and to just be there with them in that moment so that they are not alone. And it takes a piece of you away, but that's okay, because that piece grows back. But it takes a part of you. It takes a part of your resources as you're imparting to them what you have to give in that moment. It takes that part of you, and that's the only way I know how to describe it. So those of you that are married to someone that does what I do, it's not something that I've ever been able to quantify in words what it takes from you to do what you do. That part of you that leaves when they leave, when the client leaves, that it goes with them. And it's taxing, and you have to be able to balance that in a way that's healthy for you as a therapist, as a counselor. Some people push themselves too hard and too far, and there's a difference between pushing yourself to grow and simply pushing yourself too hard. When you do that, you can't grow. Not as healthy. But to say there's some days as a counselor, I end up at the end of the day feeling a little bit broken, just because of what I have dealt with that day. I've had other days, years past, where I've had people tell me stuff that I didn't think happened to real people, that I thought only happened in horror movies, that I thought was only happened in works of fiction, because it was so terrible and so horrible and so traumatic that I didn't know that something like that could really happen to somebody, that they could really suffer through that and live to tell the tale and not be out of their mind. And so I have a great amount of respect for people that have been through things like that. And I hope that in some small way I can help. And that's it. That's what it's like to be a counselor. I don't know how else to describe it. But if you're not careful and you give too much of yourself away, you're not left with much. It's kind of like growing potatoes. You can't eat your seed potatoes. There's only so many potatoes you can eat in a season before you have nothing to plant for next year. You have to know how to keep seed. You have to sacrifice a couple of tomatoes from your crop so that you can save seed. Or in a traditional manner, before Walmart, before going to the store and buying seeds, you had to save seed from your plants. So that meant sacrificing a little bit of the crop. And then you give that seed to others because you end up with too much. I can't use 5,000 tomato seeds. You always end up with too many tomatoes anyway, and you're giving them away. And again, that's what it's like to be a counselor. So I wanted to share that because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand, and I'm just beginning to. So thanks for being with me and listening to my little video. Whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, keep fighting the good fight, and I'll see you in the next video.